Welcome back to Lesson 7 on finding the missing angle. So for this one, they've given us the triangle and we need to decide how to find the angle. They want us to find the measure of angle P. So that is this angle here. So to do that, we need to first label our triangle. So the hypotenuse is always straight across from the right angle. The adjacent is the angle, the side of our angle, and the opposite is straight across from our angle. Okay. Now, when I look at SOHCAHTOA, I notice that from my diagram, I have a number for adjacent and I have a number for the hypotenuse, but I do not have the opposite. So I need to eliminate any trig function that needs the opposite. So I'm going to use the cosine for this problem. So we need to use the cosine. So we know that the cosine of angle P equals the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So the cosine of angle P equals 13 over 19. Now before we just used decimals, but we can use our fractions just like we did the decimals. So to get rid of the cosine, I'm going to take the inverse of the cosine on both sides. So there's our original problem. So we have that the cosine and its inverse cancel out. So I have the measure of angle P equals the cosine inverse of my fraction. Just use our calculators and the cosine, so I get that with the second key. Type in my fraction, 13 divided by 19, and hit my enter. Now if I round to the nearest degree, this would be 47 degrees. Okay? So let's look at our next one. So we start by identifying the angle. We are looking for angle A. So this here is angle A. That is our reference angle. So that makes this one the hypotenuse because it is straight across from our right angle. This one here is the adjacent. It is the side of our angle. And this one is the opposite. So when I'm deciding, I have a number for the hypotenuse. I have a number for the opposite. I have nothing for the adjacent. So we need to eliminate any trig function that needs adjacent. So I'm going to use the sine of my angle. So the sine of angle A equals opposite over hypotenuse. Now I need to find the measure of angle A. So that means we have to take the inverse. So I take the inverse sine of the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay. So now we substitute in the measure of angle A equals the inverse sine of my fraction. So let's see our fraction. The opposite was 18. The hypotenuse was 27. So 18 over 27. Using our calculator, the inverse sine of 18 divided by 27 equals the measure of angle A is 42 degrees. Okay, so let's look at our next one. Okay, so once again, we are looking for angle A. So let's highlight our reference angle and label our sides. This time, our hypotenuse, our adjacent is the side of our angle, and our opposite is straight across. So I have something with the opposite. I have a number here. I have a number here. I have no hypotenuse. So eliminate any trig function that needs the hypotenuse, and this time we need to use the tangent. So the tangent of my angle equals opposite over adjacent. Now that is going to find the side. To get the angle, we need to take that inverse. So we take the tangent inverse of both sides. So the measure of angle A equals the tangent inverse of my fraction, opposite over adjacent. So the measure of angle A equals the tangent inverse of 6 over 20. Now we just use our calculator to find the information we need. Oops, I don't need to write that down. We're putting it in the calculator. So the second tangent of 6 divided by 20 equals. This time our angle was 17 degrees. So let's do one last problem. So go ahead and pause the video and decide which trig function to use, and then come back and check. So if we're ready to check, we know that we're looking for angle B this time. So here's our angle B. So that makes, let's see, straight, be careful, BC looks like it's longer, but this is the hypotenuse. The side adjacent is the side of my angle, and over here is the opposite. So I have something for my hypotenuse. I have a number for my opposite. So I need to eliminate anything with the adjacent. So this time I am using the sine. So the sine of B equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. Now, I want an angle, so I need to get rid of that sine. So to do that, I take its inverse. So the measure of angle B equals the sine inverse of my fraction. Well, my fraction is 3 over 15. So the measure of angle B equals the second sine, got our little -1 there, and then 3 divided by 15. So this time we have 12 degrees. If you have any questions, let me know.